Well, hey everybody, welcome to Kush and Kai. I'm Kai.
I'm Kush. What's good, y'all?
Oh my God, we're talking about a really big staple of 2020 this year. The Queen's the Queen's Gambit. Kush, how are you on this one?
This was a fantastic thing. I wish I had jumped on the train when it had left the station as opposed to down the track. Let me tell you about this. Like Netflix limited series or mini series, it debuted October 23rd. Immediately caught fire. I'm seeing all the videos on YouTube. Watch the show, watch the show, watch the show. Mama Hayes is watching the show. Kai is watching the show and telling me like, yeah, me and Kid Kai, we're all over, man. This is awesome. Like even after all that, like I sit on it for another like week or two, and then I pick it up. There's not an ounce of fat on this show, dude. It's the opposite of all the negatives we've been complaining about with the rest of the Netflix series, where there's like, this was a fun series, but it could have been like only 8 episodes or 6 episodes. This is 7 episodes. It's a quick burn. The whole thing is 6.5 hours. It is hard to stop watching it.
Yeah, it's addictive once you get into it. I was surprised because I was watching a couple weeks ago. There was a Thursday night football game featuring the Arizona Cardinals, and one of the announcers referenced the quarterback for Arizona, Kyler Murray, who is a young phenom. He made a Queen's Gambit reference, which is like, these jocks just bringing it up is like, oh, it's reached some places. This is, in terms of our society, it's like, oh, wow, no, they're like noticing it. This is hitting different spots. If you'll also notice, because Christmas is around the corner, chessboards are selling out everywhere. Amazon, you know, your eBays, like basic chessboards are selling out, which is like really kind of cool for the sport if you're into the chesses.
My notes here say that chess sets inquiries went up 250% on eBay since this show debuted.
That's not nothing. That is not nothing. Anyway, this is based on a completely fictional 1983 novel by Walter Tevis.
Now, Walter Tevis, you may or may not be familiar with that name, but you are familiar with his previous works. He did a book called The Man Who Fell to Earth, but he did another book that was even more relevant called The Hustler. And that would be turned into a movie with Paul Newman and Jackie Gleason, and then would inspire a sequel.
Yeah, Color of Money was the Paul Newman vehicle where he won an Oscar for best performance in that one. Okay, so that is one avenue where he is going for somebody that has a predilection for a sport or a skill or a game, and that was already on the table. And then you also mentioned The Man Who Fell to Earth. Kush, have you seen that movie?
I've definitely seen the outside of the VHS box for it, and I have to admit sometimes I get it mixed up with The Brother from Another Planet.
Dig. That is the Man Who Fell to Earth is a depressing, sad, discombobulating movie because it's about David Bowie showing up and going, my planet is experiencing a drought. I need to bring water back. And then him suffering alcohol addiction and different CEOs from companies trying to fuck his shit up, and then it not working out, and then he can't go back. And then the one woman he falls in love with realizing she doesn't love him. And it is really not about like a man from another planet. It is just sadness about your addiction. So we're seeing right here, Walter Tevis had a command over A, somebody being good at a game, and then B, addictions. Like this was his avenue.
He came out with this book 37 years ago, by the way, and it only is now a New York Times bestseller. It wasn't when it first came out.
And this was almost made into a movie by Heath Ledger, who
I've been hearing that.
Heath Ledger was going to option it, and he wanted Ellen Page to play Beth. That was his choice.
That would have definitely been a weird choice, even at the time.
That would have been a weird choice, but I kind of think it could have been done. Like, I would like to see what they did, but yeah, no, I don't know. But
I mean, 10 years
Yeah,
ago,
but
10 years ago, I probably would have gone with Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart, also good. Either way, it's one of those things where, yeah, maybe it would have worked, maybe it wouldn't. But I feel like this was the best permutation of it. Like, give it a little time, give it some Netflix freedom, and you get something that it really wouldn't. Yeah, this couldn't have existed before 2, 3 years ago.
It
Like,
definitely
this
wouldn't
is
have done
in
as good with either of our choices.
for sure.
This was put into the hands of the Scott team. That's Scott Frank and Alan Scott. Now, both
Yes.
of them had hands writing this. It is Scott Frank who went on to take the director's role in this. Now, he's only directed a handful of things, some cool stuff, not important. This man knows how to adapt stuff. And when I say that, let me give you his resume here. He's responsible for Logan.
Hit us.
He did
Yes.
Marley and Me. He
You're
did
going
the
backwards in time.
he did the remake of Flight of the Phoenix, which isn't a bad movie, but his edition probably didn't have an Outcast music montage in it. Minority Report.
There it is.
And then I'm glad you jumped that. Get Shorty was the one that stuck out for me.
Yeah, dude, if you can go from the Wolverine and Logan to Marley and Me, it's like, what are we even talking about? Like,
But
that
I dare you to
is
sit through Marley and Me and
crazy.
not cry.
That is a crazy
I'm not a dog
measure
guy.
of depth. What the fuck?
I'm
Like,
not a dog
he
guy,
did
but
that.
that like just Niagara Falls, just like
That yeah, the ugly cry, like the
it's the
retriever
best
died.
dog
Like,
ever.
yeah, no, it's he hits you right there. Yeah, Get Shorty, Out of Sight, Minority Report, Dead Again. Like, he's been involved in some shit, and
Alan Scott, who also picked up some slack here, he's no slouch himself. You're gonna like this. He did The Preacher's Wife, which would star Whitney and Denzel, but he did the 1990 adaptation of The Witches, and then a personal fan favorite of mine, Daryl.
Oh, Daryl, what's Daryl about? I
You don't
know this
remember
one.
Daryl? Daryl is about a cybernetic boy.
Oh,
Some lab created a boy. He's just a robot, but he looks like you. It's the film version of Small Wonder, and not as cute, but still as fun.
Oh, good times. I was just recently recalling watching Batteries Not Included and saying, like, this is probably going to be the next musical. I mean, it was part of the thing, but like, oh no, Daryl. Okay, no, I'm in. But
Daryl's a fun
again,
movie. It's probably very dated now. It's 1982, 1984, if I want to remember. But you know, it came out around the time of Tron, so it's up there. It's ahead of its time at the time.
big. I mean, I definitely feel all those pieces, and then going into this movie, I have to say, not movie, sorry, this
It
series.
feels like a movie, though.
It does. Each one, like, they take their time, like each piece, it peels off, it's different. And I have to say, feeling like I do about mousy redheads and being attracted to them, and then getting to know one that's very young and then growing older, a lot of conflict.
There's
I have
definitely
to
some
say,
creepiness happening in this movie. I suppose it's innocent. They're all attracted to her skill in the game. But at the same time, I'm just like, come on, dude. You literally had mentioned you're 36 years old, and this is a 16-year-old girl. She might only be 14, actually.
Yeah. No, there's times where we meet them where they're like 9. And I have to say, there's a thing where Scott Frank gave an interview, I believe it was on the Big Picture podcast, where he was talking about how when he read it, he saw it as a thriller, which is interesting to me because that's one of the main things that sort of spoke to me when I saw this, where it was like they were doing things that would not happen. So let me give you a basic example. The first time she goes down to play with Scheibel in the basement, it is like, oh no, we're just going to see some horrible tale about some orphaness getting molested by a janitor in the basement. But it doesn't happen. However, him citing that makes me think that the setting was that they want to make you think that's going to happen.
There's definitely several occasions in this series where you're just like, oh no, she's gonna get raped. Never even comes close to that. That door is always open. Even she like raises an eyebrow once or twice, like, okay, I guess I'll go to your room. And you're like, oh no, bitch, don't do it. But then nothing happens.
Yeah, no, you're right there in the room with her. And then there's those pieces where, again, he has said, like, it was really nice to produce something where nobody gets murdered or raped or burned or something or shot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, yet he still name checked, like, this is a thriller. So there's those moments where they're very aware, where it's like, oh, is this happening? And they're making you feel that. And I definitely felt that. Like, there was the going down to the basement. There's a moment where she's in Mexico with her mom.
Mm-hmm.
Again, everybody, all spoilers. Like, what the fuck are you listening to us for?
All spoilers.
Where they're literally describing the nature around where her mom died, her adopted mom. And it's like, oh, did this happen? And then the investigators are like, oh, yeah, we're going to give you the body report. And she goes, yeah, the mom reported that the tequila tasted funny. And they're doing this whole Russian thing about, like, we have to eliminate our competitors early. They totally are laying the track for...
no, I'm gonna pause you there, homie, because I never picked that up whatsoever. When she's talking about, yeah, mom mentioned the tequila tastes funny, I literally thought she's just playing along with them footing the bill. Like, we're gonna take care of your bill because of the inconvenience, including this very hefty alcohol bill that your mom racked up. And then she goes, well, you know, mom did mention the booze tasted funny, as if there's something wrong with their supply. I never once got the indication that foul play was suspected. I really figured this woman's hepatitis just caught up with her.
I only picked up on that because the Russians said we should take her out early.
Okay.
Like, that was the key line in there. And I'm like, yeah, of course, it didn't happen, so it's not true. But, and again, Scott Frank saying, like, oh no, this was based on it, like me thinking this is a thriller, which the book was not expressly. I'm like, I feel like there's moments. And again, they throw you head fakes.
Yeah.
They throw you some shit where it's like, even in stuff that does happen, where Beltic comes to her house the first time.
Where you're talking about Henry Beltic, played by Harry Melling, a.k.a. the guy who loses all of his parts to Gabe from The Office.
Whoop! Market corrected. He got market corrected. That happened. But him showing up and being there, they throw you a lot of stuff where it's like, are they going to hook up? And that doesn't happen. But there's especially a moment where his car doesn't start. And it's like, oh, you have to consider for a second, like, oh, what's that going to be like for their relationship? But then the car does start. And it's like, oh, no, I was just joking. This is indicative of what they're doing, where it's like, they're fucking with you. This is in that same mode of, like, it's a thriller, is like, are we going to do this? We're going to do that. They're moving around, and it's very evident in a lot of the episodes. And for that, I really like it. I really liked this experience. They did a great job. From the wallpaper that is fantastic.
The art design, the set decoration, all the set pieces in this are fantastic.
Gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Oh, God, in the first episode at the end, that scene, was it the first? Just a...
Is that where she gets the pills?
A heavenly looking bottle of tranquilizers that is being foretold.
The thing is bigger than her torso.
That are singing. She has her arms out. The whole school witnesses, and then she collapses. I was like, oh my God. That was poetic.
I thought that might be the most cartoony thing in there, because she's literally like taking handfuls and chomping on them. Like, you can't even do that with two pieces of Tylenol.
Tom and Jerry level-esque, like, you're not doing that. Yet she does. It was ridiculous.
I remember thinking, oh yeah, you definitely got your stomach pumped. But it's amazing that the character didn't die at that point. Like, I think at
Who
most
was
I
the
have nitpicks for this show.
Oh, please hit me, hit me.
But, well, just again, the thing where she's literally scooping handfuls of pills into her mouth. Like, that's going to just make you violently ill immediately. And we'll go over the rest as we go along in this series here. I gotta say, I ended up watching this twice. I want to say I sat through this in 2 sittings twice.
Oh,
The second time, I was
really?
literally just gonna like parse it out. I was like 7 episodes, 6.5 hours. I'll do 2 tonight, maybe 3 tomorrow, and then 2 more before we get to this episode that we're doing right now. And the
Yeah.
next thing I know, it's 3:30 a.m. and we're literally finishing the Russian duel.
Yep.
I picked up many new things in this. Again, nothing like cloak and dagger stuff, no foul play, but there was just details that I hadn't picked up before. I feel like some wasted opportunities too. So one looming threat over the entire series, and they do a great job with this, is the Russians. Okay. I forget the actual gentleman's name that we're supposed to be worried about.
Borgov?
Borgov, thank you. That's probably closer than what I had. Borgov is always looming over the entire series like a living legend. He's a phantom, if you will. Is it the first meeting or the second meeting where she's in a press conference and she finally lets it slip that she actually knows Russian? And this guy's already talked mad shit about her, technically in front of her face in Russian.
Wait, I didn't even pick that up. Really? She actually says that? Because I missed
she lets
that
it
then.
she finally lets it reveal, like they're going, so it's the second interaction in Paris.
It was in Paris.
They're getting ready for Paris, and they're like, how do you feel about this, blah 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 blah. And at first she speaks in English, and then she lets her final statement out in Russian, and Borgov is like, oh shit, like she's way ahead of the game on this. Like we thought she was just some ignorant American, just some American woman. I did not pick that up the first time. I went over notes with you after my first viewing. I was like, oh man, I wish she'd like drop that as she moves her final piece into position on the board in Russia. Like that would have just been that would have been some nice dramatic cheeseball shit.
Wait, I can't even remember. Hold on. In the penultimate scene for the movie, and again, spoilers, everybody. You're not listening to this because you're not spoilers, but when he extends his king to her in his hand, when he says take it, does he say that in English or Russian? I don't even remember.
I want to say he says it in English.
I think he says it in English, but what? Oh, yeah. That detail was great, but do you know what that mirrors for this story? And again, this was written in the mid 80s. This was essentially a lot of details about the Bobby Fischer story, where he was a young prodigy. He studied the Russians and learned Russian, and then won the grand championship, like the world championships, at a young age. This was his story, except they flipped it over to women. And then also there's a lot of details where he was, like much of the chess world, very disparaging to women. He was like, I could give you a 2 or 3 piece advantage, but I will beat you. Women don't matter. And I've read about a number of women that were like, yeah, A, people wouldn't be talking during the matches, and then B, no one would rally for you. Like it's just a thing.
So before we did this, put together some notes and whatnot, and I wanted to like go over some other chess movies that like if you like this, you're gonna dig these other movies if you haven't seen them, or maybe you've seen them and go visit them again. Searching for Bobby Fischer, which actually has absolutely nothing to do with Bobby Fischer. No. But there is a Bobby Fischer movie that I was not aware of called Pawn Sacrifice. Came out in 2014 and stars Tobey Maguire and Liev Schreiber.
Wow.
Toby is playing the Bobby Fischer character, and he is just crazy as fuck. Schreiber is playing the Russian, and he's just, again, it's Tobey Maguire going way more over the top than like he did in Spider-Man 3, but there's an edge to him, and like he's literally confronting the dude and his KGB bodyguards like the beach, and he's like, I'm coming for you, okay, you can't do that.
Shit.
I'm coming for you. All right.
Oh shit. Wow.
I get the movie is just a highlight of how crazy this man was, but he literally takes it to like these wrestling promo levels. And I can't wait
It's a
to
lot.
find this movie after we get done with this episode.
Oh no, I have to check that out. I mean, yeah, it was adapted for that and it went in. And then, okay, listen, I have to bring this up now in terms of what we were looking at. The one thing, because again, this feels like a really almost perfect series. Like they did so many good things inside this story.
Sure.
They had a lot of good choices, but one of them that I've seen people be annoyed with, and I don't take as much umbrage with it, but they do. And as we have previously recorded, there is a magical Negro element to this story.
Yes, but
In the
no, but yes. In
second
the
to
end, she's
last,
just there to lend out $3,000. Otherwise, she has
she
no
is.
effect on the story.
Well, okay, hold on. Jolene comes
Jolene,
back. Jolene comes back
played
to
by a woman
help
named Moises.
Beth. She's great. I love her. But she comes back and just to fix everything. And they go to Scheibel's funeral, which also Beth not sending the $10 back is
I was
like,
disappointed about that. I was like, you literally
that
made
fucking
thousands.
fucked me up. Kush, that fucked me up.
Yeah,
You are
you've
winning
made thousands of dollars over
thousands
the
of
years. Tens
dollars,
of thousands,
and you
maybe.
take this seriously, and you're not sending it back. What the fuck with that? That really bugged me for a bit. But
that was my most hated detail of this series.
I did not like that, and then they pointed it out. But wait a minute, another piece for Jolene. Like I was looking up the differences between the book and the series.
Okay.
This is one of them where the relationship between Beth and Jolene is different. In the beginnings of the book, Jolene is almost a molester. Like she gets into bed with Beth
I thought that was going to
and
come
is
up.
like, "Hey, I want to engage in mutual masturbation." And Beth says no, and Jolene leaves. But this is the impetus for Jolene to say like, "Hey, you cracker," later.
Yeah,
But
Jolene not my favorite character in this series.
Jolene in the show says it, but you're like, oh, I guess it's just a sign of affection or something.
It's a thing that they supposedly have, but I'm still just like,
for sure. And again, in Kentucky in the 50s, yeah,
Sure.
no, there's things. So Beth in the book responds with the N-word, and this because
Yeah, why
Jolene
not?
said that in the hallway, but this goes into the record of like things media where they edited the N-word out of the
book?
movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
the movie.
the book to the movie they edited it
Sure.
out because Forrest Gump again uses the N-word a few times in the book, but does not show up in the movie, which I agree with. Like if Forrest Gump said the N-word, it's like, okay, we got to stop and like talk about it. Like, really, buddy? Like
this gets back to you being upset about Tom Hanks playing the Colonel.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of like I have a lot of feelings about Tom Hanks, and then if I talk to him, he'd be like, "Yeah, no, it's just how it goes." You're like, okay. So there's that. It is outside those bounds, but so for Jolene, again, we were talking about Magical Negro coming back. It was uncomfortable for her to come back and be like, well, I guess this character is existing outside of sexual, racial friend norms of like, I'm playing this law firm guy up to be in on this, that I'm doing that. And it's just like, and I'm going to save you. It was kind of a lot. Like
it's wildly out of nowhere because Jolene's in the first 2 episodes and then she's gone. And it's not until the 7th episode that she comes back, and she's again literally just there to drive Beth around and then give her $3,000 in trade for 2 dresses. FYI, great fucking deal in the 60s.
Yeah,
if you're trading dresses, that's a great deal.
Trading dresses, and I like Jolene, but yeah, it was just a lot. And then I have to say too, it's like, oh God, seeing that interaction and just wanting it to be like, oh yeah, no, that's how it happened. It was just, we are already piling on a lot to how people would have been more mean to Beth in that world.
Well, so at
And
some point,
just,
Alma Wheatley brings up a pen pal, and this is on the way to Mexico. And
dig.
Jolene's presence would be that much more effective in episode 7 if there had been this relationship through correspondence over the rest of the series. Like, hey, Jolene,
Dig.
life is going well.
Right,
I'm in
right.
Jasper, Mississippi now, whatever, or
For
whatever, you
sure.
know.
Has
But
no
that's
idea.
never a thing. In fact, it's things like that, which is why it's a surprise that she never paid back the janitor. You're like, you figured she would have done
Travis.
that,
Yeah.
but when she actually brings it up, you're just like, ah, bitch, are you serious? Like, oh,
Yeah.
just
Yeah, that was hard to take. No, I
mhm.
agree. And God.
So
Okay, wait. Hold on. First one. Is Towns gay? He's gay, right?
Towns
The
is gay,
photographer
yes.
friend.
I had
Towns
to.
is gay. Okay.
So I didn't pick up on that the first time. At first, like there was the whole interaction with
Because, yeah, no,
with the
it was
guy in
like
his
there
room.
was a guy. Yes.
But
Towns is gay. Towns is
that's
gay.
again. This is if you watch this in one sitting, it's 6.5 hours, so it's a very forgettable
It can
scene.
go right the fuck by. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, why did he do
You know,
that?
why is his roommate tripping out so hard? Like, okay,
Yeah.
go meet for dinner. Whatever. No, in my second viewing, it's very apparently that they're gay. Towns is actually like he deals with some sexual confusion. Again, she's
Yes.
16, maybe 17 at this point, but it's all just like. By the way, D.L. Towns, played by Jacob Fortune Lloyd, who has lost every role to Henry Cavill and Richard Madden, aka
He
Rob
was
Stark.
market corrected for Henry Cavill. Like he cannot get a thing. Henry Cavill will get it. That's fine. That happens. It's the
He even
industry.
brings it up in a future episode. I forget which number after that, but he was like, yeah, so sorry about that whole thing. In fact, I was a little confused myself at the moment, but I'm so glad we remained friends. And D.L. Towns was 100% gay.
Yeah, and you get that in the scene where it's like, no, there's a boy here and whatever, but seeing him go there just to support her was like, okay, cool. All right. She's got friends. In the book, Benny has his whole set. They're all in Russia doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, they switched it in the show to be them stateside doing it.
That's
But,
stupid.
yeah,
they should have had them all in
that
Russia
doesn't make
then.
any fucking sense.
Because again, nitpick, but I'm watching that scene where they're all on the phone. I'm like, this motherfucker is racking up thousands of dollars. Okay, they're calling Russia. My man, let me give you an example here. I had a thing with a chick in the Navy who ended up going to Italy, and we spoke on the phone once upon a time for 1 hour, and the bill came back to be $700. Okay,
shit.
This was 2004.
Oh, God, what are you talking about?
2005?
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm reacting to be like, that is unreal.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that didn't seem, for whatever 50s, 60s, whatever, the State Department would have had to specifically sponsor, Bell, GM, whatever was the phone line.
Literally would have been cheaper to fly everyone out to Russia and have them sleep on the floor of her penthouse.
God damn.
Okay. And
by
they
the way,
gave her a great room. FYI, Communist Russia still gave her a fantastic hotel room.
I would like them to have done more food porn stuff where it's like the Russian, like they have the caviar and the thing or whatever. Anyway, they didn't care. But I was a little curious, but they had other issues to deal with. Hold on, real quick. Why did Benny... Okay, you must remember this scene. Because she gets in with Benny after she has her...
about Benny.
Benny, what's his name? Thomas Brodie-Sangster. He was the kid in the Love Actually movie.
I've not seen that, but okay.
You have not seen Love Actually?
I've not seen Love Actually.
My mom's favorite holiday movie. You check that out.
That's cute.
Okay, but looks like...
You're talking about Benny Watts here. I've got two things about him just on my notes.
Hit me.
One, why is he dressed like Crocodile Dundee, where he's got a duster, a cowboy hat, and a knife? But
I'm about to ask about that.
But before we go into that, Why does he also look like Jeremy Miller, aka Ben Seaver from Growing Pains?
What the fuck?
Like the entire time I was like, I'm glad to see Jeremy Miller's doing things. Not Jeremy Miller.
He's in there. He's fucking shit up. And fucking some mousy redheaded bitches. I'm just saying, okay, they have a whole scene about it.
He brings up the knife, but why did he bring
Why does he have the knife? Why does he have the knife? I thought it was going to lead to the story about him being gay and being like harassed or something. Mm-hmm. But he just is like, no, it's a look. You got to let people know. And it's like, that was the weakest, like they did nothing with that story point. Like,
I want a story where he was actually stabbed by another chess player during a game. Like, and ever since then, I carry my knife with me.
I would love to see the flashback of that. I would love that. But they did not do any of that. Why did he have the knife? He had, and he displayed it prominently. Like he had the hip up going like, oh yeah. No, we don't know. And then they never go back. She just addresses it and then moves on. Mm-hmm. But again, like his really cheap mustache, it was sort of like,
it's not a good mustache, bro.
I'm this bad boy and I have this look and that's how it's going to be. You're like, what are you doing? I do love her line later because she gets into drugs and alcohol, but then sex. And then it's a couple partners later where she says like, oh, that's how it's supposed to feel. So you're like,
Benny's got the D. Benny's carrying the D. Good for him.
Ding. Yeah. No, Benny makes it happen. And again, I thought he was gay. And I still attribute this to the production team, the creator going like, this is a thriller. So you don't know exactly what's going to happen. I think they did that on purpose. They're like, we're throwing some gay vibes at you, but then he doubles it down. That's what's going on.
I presented you my two Benny questions, but I have a Benny complaint as well. They get to New York. They get to his apartment, which is actually, it feels like he's living in the fallout shelter of a building. Am I right?
He is.
It's not a bad location either. Like it's just concrete or whatever. Like looks pretty clean. Okay. The series implies that they are subterranean for so long that he is just stacking up parking tickets on his bug. Yeah. And I know it's just an artistic thing to say, like, this is how much time has passed, but I can't. One, they need food. He's literally got a dozen eggs and like some rotten celery.
Eggs.
They have to go out and get more food. They have to go out for this. They have to go out for that. They have to leave the apartment at some point, and he has to collect his parking ticket, whether he pays or not. Who gives a shit? But I cannot picture his VW Beetle just stacking up that many parking tickets and not getting possessed.
Yeah. No, that would have happened. But wait, as long as we're talking about it, inside, no, 100%. Like that thing would have just been hauled away. Mm-hmm. But one of my favorites of that series of episodes is, I don't remember her name, the French chick.
The French chick, yeah.
They do such a good caricature of the 60s French chick that it's just like...
I gotta tell you, that's the 21st century French chick, too.
Yep. It's just like she's outside, she's different, she's telling you what the score is. I'm like, oh, yeah, they nailed that. As much as the magical Negro thing misses, the French chick thing is like... I don't know if they're annoyed, the French, by that, but like in tropes, it is like you're doing exactly what you need to do for stringing this character along. I'm like, very good, very good.
She's a fun character for 15 minutes. My biggest pet peeve about her is she's like, when you're in France, look me up. And Beth is like, how would I do that? And no answer is ever given. We're just going to call her Sophie. Sophie finds her at her hotel, and she's like, I told you to look me up. And it's like, bitch, how would I go about doing that? Okay, thank you for finding me, but how would I find you?
Well, especially, I mean, even today, I'm like, hey, if you don't see me writing it down, it's not going to happen. Her not giving the Rue Choscook of her address, like, it's not going to happen. Like, you will not see me again. Which is crazy. Oh, wait. Speaking of crazy, I just remember this. This is another like head fake they throw at you. Is Beth going crazy? Because they have the building blocks of her mom where it's like, oh yeah, bitch is crazy. And then it's a lot of people telling her like, hey, yeah, this chess person that you're like, they went crazy. They
Mhm.
jumped off a building. Like that happens multiple times.
Mhm.
But this again feeds into the thriller element of like, oh yeah, is this gonna happen? Like they totally feast on that, where it's just you're like them. They went nuts. They kept analyzing this theory like you're also going to lose your mind. Like,
Mhm.
did you pick up on that?
We get flashbacks of Beth remembering fragments of her life before mom killed herself, where dad is trying to get mom to take the pills again. And the pills that Beth coincidentally are hooked on her entire life. Beth's mom is at this point in her illness where maybe she was on the pills, maybe she wanted to reject them, but eventually she slipped off of them. And the further she got away, it only made more sense to not take them.
Right.
She's clearly very intelligent because she's always talking about, I just got to figure out this problem. I just got to figure out the solution. Blah, 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 blah. Like she's definitely at the end of her rope, but she's always like calculating shit. She's still not correctly processing it. And that's because she's not taking her fucking pills.
Yeah.
This movie has a very heavy subtext about mental illness and about just how to balance yourself. And while Beth has got her addictions, that's probably what is saving her from madness, that and chess, because mom is
Big,
just on the run.
big.
Mom doesn't
Yeah.
have anything to like focus her mind on like chess. And she's
Dude.
actively refusing your medication, which led to her untimely death. Beth, however, is leaning into it at times. My pet peeve about Beth's addiction is she can just quit. She can literally just quit whenever she wants. And some people actually have that ability, but it doesn't work in a movie. Like you need to see like the pain of her going through withdrawals.
Yeah.
No withdrawals.
Some finality. Yeah.
It's never a thing. She just sleeps it off, and then she's just like, "Well, this is boring. I guess
Yeah.
I'll just do some
They throw
chess moves in my head."
they throw that at you a bunch of times where it's like they make you think where it's like, oh no, it's gonna get worse and worse and worse, and then this happens, but then they change directions, and that's in the original script, but it is one of those like, oh, is that gonna happen? But yeah, I mean, it is okay. If I do just say like it is one of the more fantastical elements where it's sort of like she was able to overcome it and she did great. She just was able to escape addiction issues. And you're like, oh, cool.
And
But
there are people who can do that. And maybe this is just that story, but it doesn't work in television or movies.
right. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
I just went through a thing with my therapist where I went, yes, I have a drinking problem, but you know what? I took a month off and I was just bored at most. Like
Dang.
there was
No,
never an issue after that. Quitting smoking, 50,000 times harder.
yeah, no, the quitting smoking is difficult. Oh man. Did she smoke? I mean, I know her mom, she did that thing
That's a
where,
smoker.
is she?
She became a smoker after mom's death.
That's right. That's right. Because she was taking on all of the things around her. Like she was sleeping in the same bed and watching TV and doing the things, which, again, that is one of the more. I was so taken with that relationship
And you're
because it
talking
was
about
so.
Mrs. Wheatley. That's Alma Wheatley.
Yes.
This is actually my favorite character, Kai, and it's played
Ah,
by Marielle Heller.
yes.
And
She was the best. She was
their
one
relationship
of the
is
best pieces.
fantastic. She's
Ah.
always encouraging her. Like she's very skeptical at first, and she's kind of doing some sleazeball mom parent shit, whatever.
But
she always is well intended. She's clearly going through that terrible divorce with Mr. Wheatley. Here's some fun facts about Marielle Heller. She's actually a director in her personal life when she's not doing badass actress shit. She has 2 fantastic Oscar-nominated films in the last 2 years. So last year she did A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood with the aforementioned Tom Hanks.
Are you
directed
kidding
that?
me?
No, sir.
Really?
She directed that. And then she did a movie the year before that, which I thought got snubbed. Apparently, like the main 2 actors did get nominated, but Can You Ever Forgive Me, starring Melissa McCarthy.
Oh, you raved about that to me.
Fantastic
You said, like,
fucking
you
movie,
check this
wildly
out.
slept on. Should have had more nominations than it did. Marielle Heller in the movie Can You Ever Forgive Me? It's a movie about an author, an alcoholic author down on her luck, gets into a forging gimmick where she starts forging letters from dead authors and selling them to pawn shops, and they just start
Oh.
like just handing over cash. And long story short, she ends up doing time over it and blah blah blah. It's a true story. Throughout the entire movie, they're setting this thing up where Melissa McCarthy is complaining to her landlord about, like, can you fucking call an exterminator in here? There's a fucking smell in the entire building. Like, you can't escape it. It's everywhere. What the fuck is this smell? We finally figured out what it is when her friend comes by and he's like, yo, what the fuck is that smell? He ends up looking up under her bed, and Melissa McCarthy has let her cat just shit everywhere. And when you finally see just this whole spread of just cat shit under the bed, you actually get hit with the odor in your face.
Yeah. No,
name a movie, Kai, where you've ever smelled the problem or anything.
No, oh boy.
Marielle Heller did this perfectly, where all of a sudden smell is a thing in cinema. And Can You Ever Forgive Me? Fantastic fucking movie. Everyone needs to check it out. And again, my favorite character, just you find out more details about this. Marielle Heller played Alma Wheatley, and once she died, it was a very sad scene.
That was, I mean, I didn't realize it when it was going on, but they gave her a full swan song episode about connecting with a lover and being in a foreign city. And then she came into her own where she's playing the piano in front of others, where she was afraid of that before. And she was like playful with it. She was like, oh no, I didn't think I would do this before. And she was playing that song and it was so sweet. And then it was over. It was just, that was really well done. Hold on a second though. They said she died of syphilis?
Syphilis or hepatitis, or they implied
hepatitis?
It. They implied it.
Was it from that guy?
No, I believe Mr. Wheatley was cheating on her, is what I got out of that.
Oh, God. Is that, because I was confused where it was like, how long? I don't know how long these things take per se.
Well,
so it's like
syphilis and or hepatitis do not kill you within a week. Okay.
That's what I was saying. So I'm like, so it's not that one guy. Is it the other guy? Like, and then for Beth, is it like, are you afraid to use the toilet? Because listen, hepatitis B is highly infectious. Like, it's a problem. It's bad. Jesus Christ. Oh. But again, that was the scene where it was just, she died. The Russians were saying, we need to take them out. And then Beth was like, oh, her tequila tasted funny. That was the cue where I was like, are they doing this to us where the Russians are poisoning people? It was not. It was not. Mm-hmm. But again, Scott Frank saying like, I felt like this was a thriller. That was not a mistake that I might have thought that. It was just, we want to make you think things are happening. Yeah, the first time Harry Belta came over, and then, his car doesn't start. I mean, again, we're just thinking about like, oh, wow, is this
what's weird about Harry Beltick's scene there where the car doesn't start is, again, you think it's going to lead to that, and then it eventually does. But it's it does. 3 scenes later. She's like, you should just hang out here. Don't move into that apartment that you've already signed the lease for in 1960, whatever. Stay here for free. I have to imagine Henry or Harry being Henry or Harry, like he's still paying rent on that apartment when he finally decides to move out.
For sure.
Did you catch the scene where he gets cut off, but he's like, yeah, I had my teeth fixed for you. Like, he had his teeth fixed for a 16-year-old girl. She's 19 or 20 by the time he reveals that. But it's just like, again, more creepiness.
I'm glad you said she was that age for legal reasons, just in my own imagination. But that is part of it. All right, Kush.
Speaking about her age, let's get back to her age. When she's getting adopted by the Wheatleys, she almost slips that she's 15 and then is immediately corrected that she's 13.
Yeah.
Going into the relationship, there's definitely a 2-year age gap.
Yeah.
Do you think she ever corrected that with Alma, or did she just let it ride?
I think she is a let it ride. Like, That's what you believe? Cool. We'll
Mm.
just go with it.
Because there's a couple times again where with not only Baltic or Beltic, but our man Henry, where he's like, "How old are you?" No, don't tell me. I'm just going to be way more depressed. I think even our man DL does it.
What did you think of the ending where she went to the park at the end?
Oh, fantastic ending. Yeah, I had no problem with the ending whatsoever.
I saw people complaining about it, but I was like,
complaining
but
about?
This is what she was fantasizing about, where it's like just enjoying playing chess. That was kind of the whole point, where it's like, do you like doing this or do you hate doing this? And the hate doing this parts are her being self-destructive. And the like doing this parts are like, it's innate and natural and just that's what you do. And that's why she went there, which is the like, oh no, that I can't stop doing it, which is more natural and attuned to her. So now again, everybody, I recommend the series. I can't even imagine what you've listened if you haven't seen it, but no, it's good times. Kush, I don't have any other notes.
The ending that you just brought up, like I feel like widescreen cut it off. It's a callback to the scene with her interview with Life magazine where she's like, yeah, the chessboard, the whole world is only 64 squares, and I'm in control of every one of those squares. And the very end, I feel like there's supposed to be 64 chess games going on there, but for whatever reason, we can only see like 3 rows of 7.
Right.
Again, that's a fantastic scene. It also ends with her, the last line being in Russian, just like, let's go.
Yeah.
This was a fantastic series. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad it was finally brought to my attention. I'm glad I fucking took advantage of seeing it. I have no desire to read the book, but I also hope, I pray that they don't add on to this. Just let it exist as it is.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I don't think the creator, I mean, the guy who adapted, Scott Frank, would do another, because he's just like, that's what the work was. I think we're safe from that.
This thing is like breaking like Netflix has only got a couple records within its own universe, but this thing is like shattering that.
Oh, it was on that top 1 for a while. Like
for sure.
This broke some records. So that is impressive, which stands to be noted. Like, good on ya, Queen's Gambit. Good to go.
So,
all right.
Earlier I had mentioned Pawn Sacrifice, which is a movie that I want to check out. Also, Searching for Bobby Fischer, 1993. We're talking Joe Mantegna, Ben Kingsley, Joan Allen, Lawrence Fishburne. Also, if you want to feel like a pipe-smoking, leather-elbowed intellectual, check out 1994's Fresh with Sam Jackson and Giancarlo Esposito. Okay?
Yes!
All right.
Do that.
That is an amazing movie that no one seems to know about.
Oh, do that.
I recommend everybody check that out. And when you're done checking that out, we're going to go check out Pawn
Kush,
Sacrifice.
do you know how to play chess?
A little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know B4 and 7, 8 or whatever. Yeah, I don't know the names of the pieces.
I don't think B4 is a thing, but no.
Knight and King chess. Rook. I don't know any of that shit. I know the names of the actual pieces, but I don't know the names of the squares. Is what I'm saying.
There you go. All right, we'll have to play chess later, but
we can do that.
Yeah. Good times. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Kush, good to be here with you.
Great to be here with you, my man. Everyone, check out Kush and Kai, episode 51. We just talked about Cobra Kai. If you're feeling lonely.
Woo!
Before that, there are 50 other episodes of Kush and Kai in the catalog. Check out.
Oh, I want another Cobra Kai to come around. We're gonna have to talk about Cobra Kai.
Well, Cobra Kai will only come out 1 week after this episode drops.
Really?
Maybe we should do an episode about that. Yeah, man. This is going to drop New Year's Eve.
100% going to happen. We will discuss.
I love that.
Cobra Kai's.
You heard it here first, folks.
All right. Well, I love everybody. Be safe. Wear a mask. Yeah. But thank you for hanging in. Good times.
Great times. From the Bosnet family.
Why does he have the knife?